everybody is making more money than they've ever thought they could make off of one piece of content in their life, right? They're like, I posted a 5-second video and retired. And everybody's like, congratulations.
Well, hello, and welcome to another edition of the eCommerce Evolution Podcast. I'm your host, Brett Curry, CEO of OMG Commerce, and today we have a returning guest. It's going to be an amazing episode. I have Miss Liz Saunders back again with a new title and a lot of new developments that I can't wait to unpack, but she is now the president of the creator division at Wayward. Talk about what that means and why she's doing that. But with that, Liz, welcome to the show, and how's it going?
Thanks, Brett. It's going so good. I mean, it's been, I guess, almost 2 years since we chatted, so this is like a really fun opportunity to reconnect.
It's so crazy. When I first thought, man, I should have Liz back on, I thought, well, it's been like just a few months. And then I looked, and yeah, it's been almost 2 years, which that's just the way life in e-com goes, man. It just goes by so stinking fast.
Feels like yesterday and 7 years ago simultaneously, right?
100%. That is 100% true. So, you've had a really big year, Liz. So we were both at Seller Summit in Fort Lauderdale. You were the closing keynote of that event, which is a major honor. So kudos to you for that. You sold your company, Fluencer Fruit. You sold to Wayward, which is where you are now. So I can't wait to unpack that. And now you get to be on this show twice, in a couple of years. So it is a big, big year for you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah. Which, by the way, what was that like? Given the closing keynote, was that like kind of a bucket list thing? Was it something you wanted to do, or something you're really nervous about? Kind of walk us through that.
Kind of all of those things, honestly. Not bucket list. That's the one that I'll say, like, and this was part of my keynote, was like when I started with Seller Summit, I mean, it's like was my entryway into e-com. And when I started, I was like running registration and was just a new Amazon seller. And my whole life was kind of in flux. And so like, never did I ever think like, oh, I would like to be the closing keynote, right?
Going from running the admission table years and years ago to now doing
like
the closing
checking
keynote.
Reg badges, and now it's like, and here you are as the. So I will say, like, it definitely wasn't something that I initially was like, that's what I want to do. And also when we got closer, it was like, that would be really cool. And in talking to Tony, because they had a scheduling change with the original closing keynote, and she was like, you've been traveling, who do you see? And I kind of like was like, I'm going to pitch myself. I was like, I'm a rags to riches Seller Summit full circle moment. Like, and she was like, I like it. So they took it, and
amazing.
It was nerve wracking, but it was really fun. Like, if you're ever going to do something that big, being in I would call it our home audience, right? Like those are my people. It's like,
everybody's rooting for you. Everybody's cheering for you. Like it was a perfect environment.
So nerve wracking, but also if you like fall on your face, they're still going to love you. So it's like a little ambivalence.
takes some pressure off for sure. So it was great. And your background is Jungle Scout. You're a successful seller. You've been doing Seller Summit now, doing some really cool things. And then a few years ago, you had this idea. Let's build a platform. You called it Fluencer Fruit. That's the company you just exited, which I want to hear all about the exit, because I just know so many people. We're kind of in the M&A game. We're looking to acquire. I know a lot of people that are looking for exits, and so can't wait to unpack that a little bit. But for those that don't know, what is Fluencer Fruit, and then how does that fit into the Wayward ecosystem?
Absolutely. So Fluencer Fruit is an extension that helps content creators on or in the Amazon influencer program, helps them do product research, and it helps them manage their video library. So that's like the fastest way to explain it. It's a Chrome extension that is just like helps visualize all of the things that you care about for on-site content in an easy to digest fashion.
Nice. And so what are you seeing right now? And we'll talk about how this fits in with Wayward, but what are you seeing right now with Amazon Influencer? Because I know this has been an initiative with Amazon for a while.
Yeah.
Amazon's always trying to solve the problem of discovery. How do we get customers to discover new products? They still mostly rely on search. They're looking for things to go beyond that. But what have you been seeing with Amazon Influencer as of late?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I think there's like two pieces to that coin, right? Which is where it's like they're trying to solve for discoverability, and they're also trying to solve for authentic feedback, right? So like we have seen a lot of change for written reviews, right? And I use it in quotes because are they really reviews from customers? Amazon's been fighting that battle.
Is it a real person? Is it someone overseas? Is it just a fake? It's a bot. Yeah.
It's like a competitor being paid to leave 1-star reviews, right? So like they've been trying to like simultaneously solve both of these things. And so where I see like the on-site content being the biggest win for them is its authentic user feedback for a product, right? And so in a way, it does battle some of those like paid for, bad, good, whatever, like reviews with really authentic conversations in video. The other thing is from
it's not just a discovery thing, it's also like a conversion piece as well, right?
Yeah.
And like lending real feedback for a specific product that should help with conversions or purchases.
Yeah. So the on-site piece up to this point has been almost 100% on the conversion side. It's like you're paying all these other places to drive traffic to the listing. This is the one thing that they let you do that like helps with your conversion rate. But something interesting that they're playing with in way of like discoverability is surfacing these videos in search results. Yeah. So every once in a while, and they're still, I think, testing, like we don't see this consistently, but every once in a while you'll be searching and instead of a main Amazon image product, like picture, you'll see a video that's like obviously not a brand video. So I do think that they're trying to pull that in.
So there's no way at the moment for a brand to influence that. But if you have those videos, perhaps Amazon's going to grab that and display that on a search results page.
Yeah, correct. I call those miscellaneous placements because we don't have any insight into them. Amazon never tells us when they're doing them, but we see them and they'll just like plug our content into all of these placements, just I think to test conversion and see how much they help or don't.
Got it. We do a lot on the Amazon advertising side. Huge fan of the ads ecosystem. Love sponsor brand video. Used to be called video and search. What are you seeing, if anything, from your perspective on brands using some of this influencer content, these influencer videos, and running those as sponsored brand ads?
So this is really interesting that you asked about this because I do office hours with my subscribers every Thursday, and we were talking about this morning. So out of curiosity, are you seeing the ability to put money on influencer content through the ads console?
Well, I don't run the campaigns myself, so I'd have to ask my team. I've not heard anyone mention that yet. Okay. But is that maybe like in a beta right now?
So like 18 months ago, they sent us like a bunch of questions like, would you rather this for 3 months to license your content to a brand or this for 6 months? And they did this whole like whatever. And now in the back end on the creator side of Creator Connections, we have a licensing tab. But it's blank. So where I think they're going is to allow brands to kind of like run traffic to creator content through the actual Amazon ads platform. So I was wondering if you guys were seeing it in beta yet.
And then pay a licensing fee potentially to the creator is the way that might work.
That's what we're guessing. Yeah.
So either they would pay a licensing fee, or the way it works now is if I'm a creator, an influencer, I post content about, let's call it a coffee product on Amazon. If someone views my video and then purchases, I get some kind of a commission for that. Is that correct?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. And what does that commission look like? Are there ranges? Does it depend on me as an influencer? Like how does that look?
There are influencers who have their own rate cards, but those are like the super producers, right? So like your average creator gets between 1% and 4% for those on-site commissions, and it's tagged by category. So however you as the seller have decision treed, if your nursery bookshelf goes in furniture or in kids, those are two different commissions for the on-site creator. It's either 4% of furniture or 2.25% for like baby stuff.
Interesting. Yeah. I wonder why any insight into why those commissions are different for different categories for influencers?
I have no idea. I mean, I'm assuming that Amazon has discovered
margin profile for those categories, maybe something like that.
I kind of assume that they tag it based on like the difficulty to sell and drive traffic. So like baby stuff sells all day, every day. They don't need to incentivize people to sell that stuff. Whereas furniture, like how many people are selling like bookshelves?
Right.
That's my guess.
Right. Yeah. Makes sense. So what have you seen change then? So you started Fluencer Fruit, what is it, a little over 2 years ago? Is that right? Yep. And so what have you seen shift? What have you seen improve? What have you seen change in terms of the Amazon influencer program?
Yeah, I think it's in the influencer program as well as just in like product focused content in general right now. We're kind of seeing like this moment of what I call infrastructure stabilization, right? So we've been in blue ocean. Like everybody is making more money than they've ever thought they could make off of one piece of content in their life, right? They're like, I posted a 5-second video and retired. And everybody's like, congratulations, And so now we're in like between TikTok shop affiliate and Amazon influencer, we're seeing like a little bit of it's not a slowdown, but right, like they're pulling back to create the infrastructure that will build the long term of the programs.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing people having to like adapt to how they're making money. So what we're seeing working is I call it commission stacking, right? Where like from the same piece of content, I want to optimize how many ways I can make money off of it. Will the brand pay me for it? Will they send me a product? Do they have additional commissions available through Creator Connections or Wayward? What's their, what are their sales? Like you just trying to think through as opposed to just picking a product and creating content for it, thinking through kind of like the big picture. Are they on TikTok and Amazon? Can I create cross-platform content for them?
Yeah. So what about from the brand side? So if I'm a seller on Amazon, how should I be thinking about Amazon influencer? Should I be going out pursuing, recruiting influencers? What should I be doing?
Yeah. So if you're on the brand side, the first thing you want to do is make sure you're brand registered and that you have uploaded at least one product video or brand video to every listing, because that unlocks that like upper video carousel placement, which is like the number one converting thing. Thinking about the fact that like video converts better than text and UGC converts better than brand videos, right?
Totally.
So getting that above the fold, close to the buying decision is always positive. The next piece, because that just opens the real estate, right? The next piece is actively working with Amazon influencers is really a cool opportunity. We're TOS compliant and we're FTC compliant and we're not a black box. So it's not like the Vine review program, which I understand holds a necessary place, but you can't talk to Vine reviewers. You can talk to us, right? So if you have something like people keep returning this coffee product because they don't understand that you have to clean the filter this many times a week or the coffee tastes bad, right? It's like, well, as a content creator, I can go in and be like, you guys, number one mistake that I've made with this is I didn't clean the filter, right? And it hits different when I say it than when the brand does it.
It does. Yeah, but then you could also say, hey, it was really easy to clean, and man, now I get the perfect cup of coffee every time.
User error. That's on me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and then
much more acceptable coming from a user where you're like, oh, it's normal to do this rather than the brand is making me do extra work, So
exactly.
Totally makes sense. And we've leaned into this some for some of our brands. It's something that we can help with where we go out and find influencers. And so I know for a particular bedding client, it's been really effective for them. But yeah, what any other things you've seen change or shift from a brand's perspective? Or actually, I may have cut you off. You said open up videos, open up the carousel, brand registered, get brand, open up that carousel. Then what else should brands do?
Well, I think the brands finding a way, because we're all watching everybody's always trying to be more efficient with their spend and how they're fixing their margins, whether it's tariffs, whether it's changes in terms of service, like whatever the current challenge is around margins, right? So some of the things that we're seeing brands do in way of like new opportunities, creative problem solving around this is working with creators directly, right? So like you have more control over those conversations. And sometimes that means pulling the actual transactions so that they're outside of Amazon, meaning like I'm paying you a flat fee for this as opposed to like whatever, but then I can use your content. Or working with a company like Wayward where you can use brand attribution links to get the referral bonus to offset the commissions you're paying to the creators. It's like a win-win-win.
So explain that a little bit. I know hardcore Amazon sellers know exactly what you're talking about, but for those that are less familiar,
For sure.
What is that referral bonus?
Absolutely. So the brand attribution link is basically a brand's version of an affiliate link. Like Amazon wants you to drive traffic. When you drive traffic, they've done something where they'll give you a brand referral bonus. So they're not cutting you a check, but they're cutting back on the amount you're paying them for the referral fee, right? And it's usually around 10%. That's not standard, or that's not global, but that's approximate. And so what happened in this conversation was brands were like, if we drive traffic, we don't want to pay for you to drive traffic. And Amazon was like, you're right. Here's how we'll solve that. But then it was like this other piece entered the chat and was like, brands would be happy to pay creators almost 100% of their margin for that first sale.
Yep.
To get a new customer, right? And so this allows people, like Wayward will take your brand attribution link. That's then what the creator is using. You're getting the brand referral bonus, and then you can pay the creator a higher percentage than if they're just going through Amazon affiliate.
Yep. Because why not? That's free money you're getting from Amazon. Why not pay that to a creator, give them more incentives, fuel your growth there through influencers. So yeah, it makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, it's such a cool opportunity. Like, it incentivizes, it's a literal everyone wins, right?
Yeah. Super cool. Good. Have you seen more and more brands adopting Amazon influencer? Is it still kind of slow to pick up? How has that been going?
It's a lot of education, like conversations. It's interesting because I think this is not uncommon, right? But like Amazon will launch a program and then it kind of like takes on its own side life from what they like initially intended it to be, which is great, right? Because it is its own living organism, right?
Sure.
Because of that though, like I think, and I don't have anybody at Amazon that's told me this, but I think the way they initially designed this program was to be a much tighter sister to the affiliate program. So affiliate being the people driving the traffic, influencer being the people who are helping convert the traffic, right? And I think they initially thought that this was going to be like a 1-for-1. People were going to be doing both. But it's become there are people that do both, but it's become a very like separate skill set, right? Like the difference between if you're on a product listing and me helping you make that buying decision is much different than me on my Instagram being like, these are my favorite wrist wraps when I lift. You should go check out their stuff, right? It's almost like a different selling motion.
Totally. Yeah, you're more demonstrating the product on that product detail page and showing kind of how it works. Maybe it's a little more education type of thing.
Yeah.
Someone's already in the store, they're already talking to you, right? Where if someone's on TikTok or elsewhere, you got to convince them to go to the store to check it out. So yeah, different feel. And so what you're finding, what Amazon is finding, is that's off at a different person. So the person running TikTok influencer content is maybe different than the person who's doing Amazon influencer, or it's maybe the same person, they're just creating different content for the different places.
Yeah, it's a combination of those two things, right? But yeah, it is. It's like if I'm on TikTok, I'm like trying to get you like moving and to click on a link. If I'm on an Amazon influencer, or if I'm on an Amazon product listing, I'm like, check out how I can push up this shade tent. Like it just clicks right into place. On my TikTok, people don't care about that. But on the product listing, if you're 5'4", and you don't know how you're going to set up this tent by yourself, you want to see how I can do it, right? And so it has more educational, more FAQ, more like feature based than...
It's more feature rich, yeah. Where the content to get someone to go to the store, that's got to be more benefit oriented, more action oriented. You're moving someone.
Yep.
And then on the page, there's kind of overcoming objections, answering questions, talking about features, helping them decide between this product, your product versus a competitive product.
Right.
So yeah, makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
How then are you seeing this pair? And we've sort of just talked about it, but TikTok shops, obviously it's huge. We have some clients that have exploded with TikTok shops. It's also not for everybody.
Yeah.
Amazon's got their own affiliate program. I'm really excited about YouTube's affiliate program. It's basically their answer to TikTok shops. We're doing some early testing here.
Ooh.
It's been very favorable, but it's early days. So how do you see these things working together, and how would you advise brands to consider how they work together?
It's a good question. So I think one of the current struggles that everybody in this product focused content seller space is struggling with is the like interpreted need to be everything to all people and to be on every single platform. And while I think there is a space for like, yes, be on TikTok, be on Amazon, sell on Walmart, all those things, I do think there's a little bit of like, depending on how big your team is, how early you are in your company phase, right? Like you can't personally probably simultaneously run all of those sales channels.
Right. Yep.
So I think making peace with, if you took off on TikTok, double down, right?
Yeah.
If you took off on Amazon, double down.
Yep.
In time, you can add all of those. From a content piece, though, like if you're a brand who is selling on all of those, when you're vetting creators, check and see where they're posting. Specifically, if you're on TikTok and Amazon and you find a creator on TikTok, because that's the more likely direction this goes,
Yep.
Ask them if they're on Amazon Influencer and if they would post an influencer video in addition to what they're doing on TikTok. Because that's, it's much harder. You can reach out to influencers from Amazon through their storefront, to their socials, into their, right? But if you're interacting with them on TikTok, you've already got a little bit of conversation going. That's where the best direction.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. So start that conversation with someone on TikTok, do an influencer working with you there, see if they'll create some content on Amazon as well. And that kind of goes back to the earlier discussion where same person, different flavors of content based on where someone is in the buying journey. And it makes just a ton of sense.
Yeah.
So very, very cool. Well, awesome. Well, let's kind of go back to what we alluded to at the beginning of the show. So you built Fluencer Fruit, amazing site, amazing product. Kudos to you. It was really, really great.
Thank you.
Why did you decide to sell? And actually, when did you decide to sell? So did you build it in order to sell it, or did you build it just for fun? And you're like, wait a minute, there's something here. This is valuable. I'm gonna sell it.
So I built it to sell it. Like I went into it knowing that I wouldn't run it forever, right? Like I know that my skill set falls between 0 and 2, right? Of the stage of the company. Like I do really well with ambiguity, chaos, and like pulling it all into one place with enough of a structure to start handing things off to specialists, right? Like, so over time, I've realized that is my skill set. So I knew that I was probably not going to be the person that took it past stage 2 or whatever that turns out to be. And I read Exitpreneur by our mutual friend, Joe Vallaeys. I was starting.
Shout out to Joe. Great book. Great book.
If you are even thinking about ever in the future, like I like just devoured that book, and I had legitimately been waiting to read it until I knew I was getting ready because I wanted it to be so fresh. I should have read it twice, but
you should. Yeah. Well, one thing I've noticed there is, so we started going through this journey, and like I said, we're looking at acquiring. We're trying to acquire an agency right now, trying to get it across the finish line, and looking at another deal as well. But one thing I noticed is once we started thinking about M&A, and we'd even explored, like, do we want to sell to an investor? What do we want to do?
Yeah.
If you go through the process, if you read Joe's book, and there are some other great books like Buy Then Build by Walker Dybel, and there's several others, just going through the process, you'll run your business better. Because if 100%. You start to look at your business like an investor or a buyer looks at your business, you're just going to run it better. And then you may decide, wow, I'm more profitable running it this way. I'm just going to keep the business, right? So anyway, I think it's, even if you think you're not going to sell for a while, read those books and run your business like you're going to sell it. It'll be a better business.
Yeah, I think the best thing that I took out of the book was my books. Like, I'm not a bookkeeper anyways. And so as I set up the LLCs, hired a bookkeeper because I just wanted, because when I was at Jungle Scout, right, chief of staff, like I did a lot of coordinating around M&A, like conversations, and when we acquired downstream and those sorts of things. And so like I've seen the process of like when people's books aren't clean and what that looks like. And I was like, so my number one thing was to make sure that my books were always whatever anybody could come in. If they didn't like the books, that was
Gap
one
compliance,
thing.
Super clean. Like someone looks at it, they trust it. Yeah, end of story.
Exactly. So that was my like favorite thing. Like, but I knew all along. So I read the book and then I was like building. I did think that I was going to run the company for like 3 to 5 years. Like I figured it would take me about that long to be interesting. the risks that I took that I knew were risks was my brand was and is still very attached to me as a person, right? And so like when people talk about Fluencer fruit, they talk about you should buy Fluencer fruit so that you get with it Liz's office hours or those sorts of things, right? So I didn't know that that was like a little bit, but I also assumed because I very specifically picked a pretty niche community that I was going to be a strategic acquisition for somebody, right? Like filling a gap that nobody else has that, you know, fits a bigger picture, whether it was an ads play or those.
You likely weren't going to be a platform. You were going to be more bolted on or tucked into a platform, most likely.
Yeah. That was kind of my, I was like, nobody else is doing anything in this space. Like I can fill that hole for whoever thinks that it's the most valuable to them at the time. So
yeah, that makes a ton of sense. And really, you know, building a brand that is a little bit dependent on your personality. I mean, that's what we've done here at OMG.
Yeah.
I'm public facing, I'm speaking, I'm doing all kinds of things. And so certainly my brand and OMG, they're intertwined, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think part of that though is you got to lean into your strengths, right?
Absolutely.
You're good at building community.
Mm-hmm.
People know you, they trust you, they like you. So don't shy away from that. Just so that a future exit is
agree.
Easier, whatever. Like lean into it because it's a strength. You're gonna build the business faster. It's gonna be more profitable, and that's gonna make the business more valuable. So and they kept you on as well, right? Which I'm sure was part of that was related to your personal brand being attached.
Yeah. So I was planning on being around a lot longer, like solo, and then you know, we've talked a lot about like building your network and being open to conversations is like really critical in whatever realm you operate in. And the Wayward thing came out of a LinkedIn conversation.
No way.
Mm-hmm. So
just like a post you made on LinkedIn, someone commented on it, or like just a connection?
I made a comment on another post, and the head of growth from Wayward reached out to me and was like, I'd love to get on a call and just kind of chat. And so I take a lot of those just because they're interesting in our space.
Sure. You learn something. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then he was like, hey, you should meet our CEO. So I met Allie, and then she and I had lunch, and then I did some consulting for them. And as we worked together, it was like, oh, this is actually a really good fit. Like we have a whole offering together.
And by the way, what a brilliant strategy from Wayward's part. I'm assuming this was part of the strategy, right? Hey, here's Liz, cool product, cool tech.
Yep.
Let's hire her as a consultant and let's see what it's like to work with her, right?
Yeah.
That's actually something we've done several times as we looked at acquisitions is, hey, let's run some projects together. So we're like looking, we're talking M&A, we're talking about joining forces, whatever. Let's run projects together. Let's just see. Let's see how this goes.
Yep.
I mean, that's like the best due diligence you could ever do.
Yeah.
Or the best addition to due diligence you could ever do. So, cool. So what was it like going through the sales process? Any like tips, suggestions for someone who's considering it, about to get into the sales process, the selling of their business, that process? What was it like? What tips do you have?
So I think probably the two best decisions I made were I had a broker. So even though like I had kind of like sourced or whatever, like I was working with Wayward, I worked with a broker to help me like put together my valuation, my kit, like there, just some of those things. So even though like technically the sale happened outside of like the broker situation, there were so many things that like putting together specifically around the valuation that like was really valuable to have his input around like what's currently going, what the multiples are. And then the next best thing I did was an attorney, because initially I was like, got to. I was like, I can do this with ChatGPT. And then I was like, will I regret that if I do it wrong? I was like, yes, I will. So
you will. I mean, I love ChatGPT or Claude or other tools for like legal help, structuring advice, like in the early days.
Yeah.
Because it can help guide you, and those tools can really show you some things. But man, if you're doing a big deal like this, maybe one of the biggest transactions of your life, right? If you're looking to acquire or sell or whatever, hire a good M&A attorney. Yeah. It's so worth it.
Yep, exactly. So those were my like, those are the things like I wouldn't do differently. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like those are the decisions that I'm like really glad I made those two decisions.
For sure. Anything you would have done differently?
It's a good question. I've been trying to think about that. And I honestly, at the moment, like, I don't have anything. I think probably because I'm a big believer in, like, if you feel like you're trying to kick the door down, that maybe that's not the direction. And it just felt like every door in this situation just kind of opened.
Right.
And so I just kind of like walked down the path, right? Like, the CEO, Allie, and I have a very open relationship. And so, like, if I had a concern, like, I would just go to her. And there was nothing major, but anytime you have these types of big, detailed conversations, like, making sure that you're clear on things is, super important, obviously. And so I don't currently have anything where I'm like, I wish I had done that part differently.
It's so great. Well, and one thing, and because of the way this unfolded, got to know them, by meeting in person and then working as a consultant with them. Yep. You really got a feel for their character and the way they operate. And, because even though this isn't, a forever thing, like, it's kind of like getting married, right?
Yeah.
You especially if you merge companies, that's like a marriage. So you got to really make sure, like, is this someone I want to be married to for the next X number of years,
Yeah, exactly.
And so, and that's where, and I love, being tenacious, and like, if I get a no, I'm gonna figure out a way to get a yes and things like that. But you don't want to have to, like, hey, this is going to be a partnership. I don't want to have to fight for everything, right? Like, it should feel somewhat seamless or effortless, at least in parts of it, like the communication and the openness and the, hey, are we collaborative and stuff like that. So it sounds like you definitely took the right path there. Yeah. And it paid off.
I'm really pleased with the outcome. Like, I love being on the team. And that was part of the reason that when we started having those conversations, because I had been solo for 2 years, which pretty extroverted. But so being able to join a team that's like moving in the right direction has been like, oh, good, I have people again.
Dude, I thrive in like a team environment. I can do okay on my own. I don't mind to sit and write or crunch numbers for a little bit, but doing that for a long period of time, that's not where I want to be. So that's amazing. So now, kind of foreseeable future, you're going to be helping build this out, or is this a short-term thing? Or are you allowed to say, like, what does the future hold for Liz and for Fluencer Fruit?
Yeah, well, I have this really cool opportunity with Wayward to build their creator division. And that's so awesome. I get to visualize, strategize, scope, and help execute on this in a way that's like, to your earlier point, like, know your strengths, right? Like, I get to build a community that's rooted in like education and tools and just like straight knowledge sharing around a lot of this. So I'm really excited about that. So I don't know how long that takes or where that takes me, but for right now, like, I am, we're natural builders, right? That like appeals to me, is like, I get to go build something cool with additional resources and helping the community that I'm bringing along.
With a team, with capital, with a structure, but so you kind of get a little bit of the best of both worlds. You can still be entrepreneurial and build, but with some resources at your disposal. So that is awesome. Well, Liz, kudos to you, man. Great job. This was your goal at the outset. Let me build something that is valuable enough that someone wants to buy it. You did it. You had a successful exit.
Thank you.
Now you guys are building together, which is super great. So if people are listening to this and they're like, man, I want to know more about Wayward or about Fluencer Fruit, I want to tap into Amazon, the Amazon influencer ecosystem, either as an influencer. I probably just got brands listening, but I could have some people who want to do an influencer. But how can people find more?
Yeah, absolutely. So wayward.com is like, if you just want a general whatever. I also do calls with brands. So if you're like, you know what, I just have questions, I'm Liz at wayward.com. Like, just shoot me an email. We'll set up a time. I'll walk you through, like, I'll do an audit of your listings and tell you kind of like organically what you can be doing to attract those influencers, and or how we can help you push more traffic, kind of like solving for the problem you're having. Yeah. It's amazing. And then it's fluencerfruit.com as well. Is that Yep. If you're looking for the extension, it's fluencerfruit.com. Amazing. And then Liz, what about on the socials? Are you active on LinkedIn, or was it just like the one-time comment that, changed your life? Yeah, I know, right? It's like random comment. I'm active on LinkedIn. So I think my profile is like Liz-Saunders, but if you look up Liz Saunders, you should find me. Awesome.
I'll link to everything in the show notes as well. So check out what Liz is up to. Liz, thank you so much. It's been a ton of fun, super valuable. And man, I'm excited to watch you guys build and make the Amazon influencer space even better.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. And as always, thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from you. What would you like to hear more of on the show? And if you've not done so, we'd love that review on iTunes. Helps other people discover the show. And with that, until next time, thank you for listening.